Hey, what's up guys? It's Jeff here with Holistic Solutions, and today I want to talk about an antibiotic that has caused much human suffering in the wake of its inception, and what you can do to recover your health if you're unfortunate enough to take it. I've used antibiotics throughout my life without any major side effects. Growing up, I was given antibiotics for a variety of common ailments, such as ear infections, acne, strep throat, etc. And I never noticed much discomfort beyond some post-cycle indigestion, which was simply remedied by restoring my good gut bacteria with probiotics. So when a common bacterial infection rolled around, I thought nothing of it when I was prescribed yet another antibiotic. Little did I know, there are certain classes of antibiotics that carry black box warnings because of the high risk they carry for causing severe, sometimes permanent damage. With criminal negligence, the doctors who prescribe these black box antibiotics do not inform their patients of the warnings associated with these drugs. The drug I took is known as Metronidazole, sold under the brand name Flagyl. The FDA states, and I quote, "Metronidazole oral tablets and capsules have a black box warning. This is the most serious warning from the Food and Drug Administration. A black box warning indicates drug effects that may be dangerous." Flagyl is an older drug whose commercial use began back in 1960. It's used as an antibiotic for bacterial infections and as an antiparasitic for protozoan infections. It's prescribed as an antibiotic for conditions such as endocarditis, bacterial vaginosis, and colitis. It's used as an antiparasitic to treat Giardia, Trichomonas, and amoeba infections. In 2019, it was the 138th most prescribed medication in the US, with more than 4 million prescriptions. After taking this antibiotic, I was overcome with severe anxiety, insomnia, heart palpitations, muscle wasting, nerve pain, fatigue, muscle weakness, delayed wound healing and muscle recovery, thinner hair, lowered libido, and a noticeably older appearance. These are symptoms I never experienced with any other antibiotic. Even more surprising, the symptoms I experienced were relatively minor compared to the adverse effects reported by others. According to the scientific data on Flagyl, this drug has been found to cause immune deficiencies, infertility, chromosomal damage, peripheral neuropathy, central nervous system toxicity, pathological changes in brain structure and function, brain lesions, and even cancer. In 2016, the US National Toxicology Program and the World Health Organization listed Flagyl as a human carcinogen. So what is the underlying mechanism of Flagyl that makes this drug so damaging? Since structure dictates function, we can answer this question by briefly investigating Flagyl's chemical structure. But don't worry, I won't nerd out and get too technical here. Flagyl is classified as a 5-nitro drug due to the location of its nitro-functional group. In chemistry, a nitro-functional group consists of a nitrogen atom joined to 2 oxygen atoms. TNT, aka dynamite, is an example of a compound containing one of these nitro groups. These nitro compounds are unstable and are used as explosives. Is it any wonder why people who've taken this drug describe their action as, and I quote, "It was like a bomb went off inside my body." What this means is that the active ingredient in Flagyl, as well as the antibiotics that belong to its class, is extremely unstable and highly reactive. That means they cause massive free radical damage when introduced to your body. Free radicals are unstable molecules that form as a byproduct of oxidation. Oxidation is a chemical reaction which takes place when a substance is exposed to heat, light, oxygen, or any other oxidizing agent such as Flagyl. These highly unstable and reactive molecules known as free radicals that form as a byproduct of oxidation can damage your cells and their DNA, which in turn causes fine lines and wrinkles, metabolic disorders, and even cancer. This is why we want to mitigate the damaging effects of oxidation by getting plenty of antioxidants in our diet. Antibiotics of the 5-nitro variety that I would personally avoid altogether include Flagyl, Tindamax, Nimorazole, Metronidazole, Protomanid, Ornidazole, Megazole, and Azonidazole. Drugs of the 2-nitro variety include benznidazole. Flagyl may be highly oxidative, however, so are all antimicrobial drugs. The apparent difference is antimicrobials like Flagyl cause just as much, if not more, oxidative damage to your cells as they do to the infectious microbes they're indicated to eliminate. Another mechanism behind the damaging effects of Flagyl are the byproducts that Flagyl converts to once it's metabolized by your body. The chemicals produced by Flagyl are structurally similar to thiamine or vitamin B1. This causes Flagyl and its metabolites to compete for absorption with thiamine, resulting in a drug-induced thiamine deficiency. Thiamine is an important vitamin involved in carbohydrate metabolism and energy production, and a dietary deficiency of thiamine can cause all sorts of neurological and metabolic disorders, including the formation of lesions on the back of the brain, specifically the cerebellum and the brainstem. A third detrimental effect of Flagyl worth mentioning is this drug's ability to bind to cellular DNA and RNA and thereby inhibit nucleic acid synthesis and protein synthesis within human cells. To understand why this is so harmful, we must understand the function of DNA and RNA in the body. The DNA inside each one of your cells is made up of molecules known as nucleic acids that form the genetic code required to create each of the different tissues in your body. The RNA inside your cells, on the other hand, is made up of molecules that translate the genetic code of your DNA into living tissue. During the process of transcription, the genetic code that constitutes your DNA is passed to your RNA to produce the proteins that comprise all of your bodily tissues. This process occurs inside the nucleus of each of your living cells. It is the very process by which your body formed from a single embryo, and it is the process by which your tissues regenerate and repair themselves. If Flagyl inhibits nucleic acid synthesis and protein synthesis, your cells will struggle to write your genetic code, and in turn use that code to repair and replace old tissue with new tissue. Flagyl's ability to inhibit this process is literally how chemotherapy works to prevent cancer cells from dividing and forming malignant tissues. The only problem is, chemo drugs inhibit healthy cells just as much as they inhibit cancer cells, hence why chemo causes hair loss, muscle loss, and even cancer itself. And it is why Flagyl, with its chemotherapeutic properties, is also listed as a human carcinogen. With this understanding, it's not difficult to see why people, including myself, who've taken Flagyl, suffer from muscle wasting, nerve pain, muscle weakness, delayed wound healing, and muscle recovery, thinner hair, and a noticeably older appearance. Now, this is a cautionary tale for anyone who's considering taking Flagyl. Knowing what I know now, I most certainly would have declined the use of Flagyl in exchange for a much safer antimicrobial. For those of you watching who are unfortunate enough to have already taken the drug and are enduring its adverse effects, let's explore some of the options you have to improve your condition. Luckily, I've been able to minimize and even reverse some of the damage that Flagyl did to my body. And I know you can too. For starters, you're going to want to detox for a few weeks. Whether that's rebounding, using a sauna, juicing, fasting, or all of the above, you're going to want to mobilize and excrete any traces of this drug and its metabolites from your tissues. Secondly, you're going to want to start reversing the free radical damage done by Flagyl by getting plenty of antioxidants. Plentiful sources of antibiotics include fresh fruits and vegetables. Polyphenols, carotenoids, and chlorophylls are the different pigments found in fruits and vegetables that give them their characteristic colors. These pigments are the antioxidants that protect plants from oxidative stress, and when consumed, help to reduce oxidative stress in the body. One of the world's most potent antioxidants that can be taken in supplement form is known as astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a carotenoid with an antioxidant value of 2,822,200, making it 6,000 times more potent than vitamin C and 550 times more potent than vitamin E. Thirdly, you're going to want to reverse the nerve damage caused by Flagyl by regenerating your nerve cells. Flagyl and its metabolites damage neurons by binding to neuronal RNA and inhibiting protein synthesis, which results in nerve cell degeneration. Foods and spices that promote neurogenesis, i.e. the formation of new neurons, include blueberries, lion's mane mushrooms, and turmeric. Consuming plenty of these foods and spices will support both the generation of new nerves and the regeneration of any frayed or damaged nerves. Fourthly, you'll want to supplement vitamin B1, otherwise known as thiamine. As a blogger and someone who's experienced the worst of Flagyl, including temporarily losing the ability to walk and speak, Erin Jensen of metrogirlblog.wordpress.com has provided a lot of great info on how to address drug-induced thiamine deficiency. She sources much of her data from published studies on Flagyl toxicity and a book titled Thiamine Deficiency Disease, Dysautonomia, and High-Calorie Malnutrition by Dr. Derek Lonsdale and Dr. Chandler Mars. According to the scientific literature, Flagyl inhibits the body's ability to metabolize thiamine, which in turn inhibits our cellular mitochondria's ability to convert oxygen and nutrients into cellular energy. This metabolic cascade eventually leads to oxygen deficiency, heart problems, nerve pain, anxiety, insomnia, mood disorder, and fatigue, as well as relapses and flare-ups of these symptoms well after the drug is discontinued. Therefore, it is essential for subjects of Flagyl toxicity to restore their thiamine back to adequate levels, which requires a several-month course of graduating doses of thiamine to resolve the underlying problem. All-thiamine is naturally derived from garlic and is a fat-soluble version of thiamine. Because it is fat-soluble, the body stores it longer and it works better on the central nervous system and nerves. Magnesium should be supplemented with thiamine, as these two nutrients depend on each other for proper absorption and function. While supplementing thiamine, you could have a paradoxical reaction at first, in which the symptoms you're attempting to alleviate are intensified. This can occur if your cells have become accustomed to not having adequate levels of thiamine. This is normal and will subside with time as your cells adjust to acquiring adequate thiamine. Therefore, you should start at a smaller dosage and work your way up. Thiamine has limited side effects, but they can happen, as can allergic reactions at higher doses. Another concern that must be addressed is the fact that supplementation of one isolated vitamin can offset the absorption of other vitamins, which is why you'll want to take a B complex formula to compensate. Another important nutrient you'll want to increase your intake of, especially if you're physically active, is protein. Because Flagyl decreases your body's ability to synthesize new proteins, your protein intake after being injured by Flagyl becomes even more important. By getting adequate amounts of high-quality protein in the form of meat, seafood, dairy, eggs, and collagen, you'll be assisting your body's tissue regeneration process. Another way to increase protein synthesis and enhance tissue regeneration is by increasing your body's production of anabolic hormones and lowering your body's production of catabolic hormones. Anabolic means to promote the biosynthesis of proteins and nucleic acids, while catabolic means to promote the breakdown of proteins and nucleic acids. Since Flagyl is catabolic, the opposite of anabolic, in that it promotes the breakdown of tissues, increasing your body's production of anabolic hormones is a good measure to counter the tissue degenerating effects of Flagyl. There are two particular hormones that are especially anabolic in the way that they enhance tissue repair and muscle growth by increasing protein synthesis, while there is one particular hormone that is especially catabolic in the way that it wastes away muscle and connective tissue. The anabolic hormones are testosterone and growth hormone, otherwise known as HGH, and the catabolic hormone is cortisol. Cortisol not only degenerates muscle and connective tissue, but it also causes fat to accumulate around the midsection and increases feelings of anxiety and restlessness. Since both men and women produce these hormones, just in differing quantities, both men and women can subscribe to an anabolic anti-catabolic diet and supplement protocol. Foods, herbs, and spices that boost testosterone include blueberries, cranberries, goji berries, pomegranates, red grapes, red beets, onions, spinach, cruciferous vegetables, hot peppers, olive oil, coconut oil, fenugreek, basil, thyme, rosemary, cloves, garlic, ginger, and turmeric. Foods that increase HGH include beef bone broth, coconut oil, broad beans, walnuts, cherries, raspberries, and goji berries. As for lowering cortisol levels, regularly eating unprocessed whole foods rich in proteins, fats, and carbohydrates will naturally lower cortisol, while fasting, on the other hand, increases cortisol. Herbs and nutrients that increase testosterone and growth hormone include Tongkat Ali and velvet bean. A great herbal and nutritional formula for decreasing cortisol is known as Cortisol Manager by Integrative Therapeutics. Decreasing cortisol will also help to mitigate the anxiety and insomnia caused by Flagyl. I went ahead and included a link to my Flagyl Damage Protocol down below in the description box that conveniently includes all the herbal and nutritional formulas mentioned throughout the course of this video, along with the suggested dosage for each formula. I've also included a 10% discount off the entire protocol. With the vast number of low toxicity antibiotics available, we must ask ourselves, why is this drug still on the market? The profitability of drug patents is one obvious reason. Flagyl was patented and made for sale in 1960 by Pharma Corporation Rhone-Poulenc. A drug patent gives a drug company the exclusive right to be the only distributor of the patented drug, which allows the company and its shareholders to profit massively from the sale of said drug. Flagyl's patent eventually expired in 1982, but evergreening reformulation occurred thereafter. Evergreening is the process by which drug companies can extend the lifetime of their patents that are about to expire in order to retain revenues from them. Often the practice includes taking out new patents by altering the delivery system and/or ingredients of the drug, or by buying out their competitors. Robin Feldman, a law professor at University of California and a leading researcher in intellectual property and patents, defines evergreening as artificially extending the life of a patent or other exclusivity by obtaining additional protections to extend the monopoly period. So we know Big Pharma's incentive for keeping Flagyl on the market. But what about the Food and Drug Administration? Why have they not intervened and pulled this drug from the market, for the last 62 years, it's been prescribed. It is a well-known secret that there exists a revolving door between the federal government and the pharmaceutical industry, which creates a major conflict of interest between the public and private sector. Former staffers, lobbyists, and executives of major pharmaceutical corporations regularly become congressmen, secretaries, commissioners, and council members on Capitol Hill. The big pharma execs who become politicians continue to serve the interests of the pharmaceutical industry after they seize power, while the politicians who become big pharma execs help the pharma corporations navigate all the loopholes in government policy, the very policies that are supposed to protect the people from corporate corruption and predatory business practices. Until we ban the revolving door between the public and private sector and the billionaire class's ability to bribe politicians, we're going to continue to be preyed upon by robber baron elites. So there you have it. I provided a complete overview of the damaging effects of Flagyl and what you can do to reverse that damage. I hope this video has been as informative for you as it has been fulfilling for me to create. I consider Flagyl to be a major public health threat, and I take great pride in spreading awareness to prevent it from doing further harm to more unsuspecting people. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on when I release new videos. Be sure to stay tuned, as I'll soon be doing a presentation on another devastating class of antibiotics known as the fluoroquinolones that are also causing widespread harm. Until then, I hope you apply the information and tools I provided you today as a means to correct, if not prevent, the damage done by Flagyl and its sister antibiotics.